This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Melinda Bourgeois. I'm with Travel Central, and we're located here in Metairie, Louisiana, right outside of New Orleans. And we welcome you to our virtual event today on two wonderful river cruises, one on the Douro River in Spain and Portugal, and then on the Rhine River. Luckily for us today, we have an excellent speaker, Lori. She's with AmaWaterways, one of the number one river cruises in Europe, who will be sharing some of the highlights of these rivers and two exclusive opportunities to travel with Travel Central advisors. One is going to be in 25 and one in 26. Obviously, we'll share these two exclusives, but sometimes those dates will not work for you, and other dates are available, and we're happy to help you with those as well. So, with that, let's talk a little bit about Travel Central, and then I'll turn it over to Lori. So Travel Central has actually been in business since 1988. We have one goal, and that is to make sure that from the moment you call us to plan your vacation to your return home, we are your advocate. You have one travel advisor who works with you and is able to answer your questions either by text, phone, or email. She'll find out, get the best deals for you, offer you the best service, and make sure that your vacation is one seamless, stress-free as possible vacation, as well as we are part of a large organization called Signature Travel Network, and they're able to negotiate special benefits for our travelers, whether it's an onboard credit or a discount or a special amenity, and we're very proud to offer those to all of our travelers. So with that, now I'm going to turn it over to Lori. She is with AmaWaterways, as I said in the beginning. It's one of the best one of the best river cruise lines in Europe, highly rated, and she'll talk about not only about these two incredible journeys, one on the Douro and one on the Rhine, but also talk about some of the things that you'll see on the ships, whether it's the food, the chef's table, or some of the excursions you'll experience. So thank you, Lori, and take over.
Thank you. Thank you, Melinda. What a great partnership we have with AMA. The advisors book AMA all the time. And of course, two special advisors have groups with me. So, and that's multiple groups as well. So I just want to take you through AMA and who we are, just to introduce you to AMA. So we'll be 22 years old in July. And if you've not been on a river cruise, maybe you've been on an ocean cruise. So remember that oceans take you to countries, but rivers are going to take you right through the beautiful and the heart of the destination. So I thought I would start with just telling you we're not only on the Douro or the Rhine, which I'm going to highlight these two beautiful itineraries, but a breadth of product. So as you can see, all the beautiful rivers of Europe, right? We've got Portugal down here. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But maybe Bordeaux has always been on your list. You know, you've got the beautiful wines of Bordeaux. You've got here, we have the beaches of Normandy, and maybe that is something you've always wanted to go to and see. Lovely, lovely France. And then the Rhone and the Saône River. I did the Rhone last year by cruise, which was the first time I had done by cruise. I have done a land portion on the Rhone, and I one of my absolute favorites. Truly, the food, the culture, just the river is so lovely. And then you have the Belgium and Holland waterways, Amsterdam, the Rhine, the Mosel, and then we move to the Danube, the upper Danube, all the way, and the lower Danube, all the way to the Black Sea. So some of our exotics, um, Africa. I don't know if maybe you knew we had an African product. We do a 4-night river safari on the Chobe River, and then you can add a land safari, a 5-night land safari in Kruger National Park. Maybe you've always wanted to gorilla trek with in Rwanda. Victoria Falls, that's another option that you can add on. You can add on a 21-day middle of Africa tour. So maybe that's something on your list. Or maybe Egypt. We just added a second vessel in Egypt, so we have two vessels sailing. Let me tell you about the Africa product again, only 28 passengers. Egypt, only 78 passengers. So as you see, we operate the same size vessel as some of my competitors, just less passengers on board, which means more personal space for you. Or maybe Asia, the Mekong Delta has always been on your list. Angkor Wat, maybe Halong Bay. We go from San Reep to Ho Chi Minh, or Ho Chi Minh back up to San Reep here. So the AmaDara, only 124 passengers. So as you can see, less passengers, same size vessels, more personal space. And new for us, Colombia. So Colombia, we're going to do the Magdalena River. First on the Magdalena River, you go from Barranquilla to Cartagena, and then of course some extensions, Panama City, Medellin, and Cartagena. We will be having this product start in January of 2025. Also doing a lot of groups. Guess how many passengers on that vessel? 60. Very intimate, only 60 passengers, and 64 passengers on the second vessel. And that will launch in June of 2025. So if any of these other destinations, maybe the two that I'm highlighting today, really don't work for your schedules, we certainly have a product that will be right for you. So let's talk about life on board. And those of you that have been on a river cruise, it's like using it as a floating boutique hotel. And I talked about the luxury of space, right? Less passengers on board, more personal space. We have suites that start anywhere from 170 square feet all the way up to 710 square feet. So I know you have a stateroom, that's going to be conducive for you. We're known for our twin balconies. And this is a twin balcony, full French balcony and a full veranda. So 60% of the inventory on board are twin balconies. And that's what our owner, Rudy Schreiner, wanted to, when he designed these vessels, he wanted more of the staterooms in that room category. Average square feet, about 220 square feet. So really, if you're going on a river cruise, have the best of both worlds. Maybe if it's too hot or maybe too cold, sit in your French balcony, floor to ceiling, glass, sliding glass door, and then your beautiful veranda if you want to have maybe a cup of coffee or just watch the river go by. So lots and lots of options and everything in between. So also included are shore excursions. So anything from gentle walkers, regular walkers, our more active pace, which is going to be our hiking and biking. Just a note, there are no bicycles on the Douro. That's the only product we do not carry bicycles, but every other product we have bicycles. All these excursions are included, and that's going to be a choice of between 3 and 5 in each destination, and they're all included. You heard me right, all included. And then we have exclusive experiences as well. We do a Wilshofen Oktoberfest. We have Lenig Castle, which is going to be highlighted on the Rhine. That's a medieval castle that we see at night by candlelight. And then maybe in France, you wanted to have a wine and dinner pairing. So all of that is included in the cruise fare. Cuisine's a huge part. We never freeze food. Everything is fresh. We load provisions daily. We serve you regional wine. There's never a house wine on board. So if we're going through a certain region, you're going to have the wine of that region. That makes it nice, right? You get to experience all these beautiful wines. So beer and wine are included with all meals. And of course, the all-important mimosa in the morning. You can certainly have that as well. And then, of course, we source local. All the produce, everything's fresh. And dietary restrictions. We can accommodate your dietary restrictions. Please let your advisor know. So all the onboard entertainment. So maybe we're in Budapest or we're on the Rhine and we have a dance troupe come on board that evening and continue the entertainment of that destination. All of that is included. Here you have a piano player. Maybe you want to dance till 2 o'clock in the morning. You can certainly do that. And then, of course, included is our sip and sail cocktail hour. Cocktails on Ama, an hour every day before dinner. So as you can see, there's really nothing to purchase. Once you get your cruise fare and everything, your air, all that's done, then you don't open up your wallet ever again. So it makes it nice as an all-inclusive on the riverside, right? Our cruise manager, think of our cruise manager as the maestro of an orchestra. They're taking care of all the pieces that come together. And if you're choosing a pre or a post land stay, the cruise manager's with you to start your journey or even end your journey. So they play a vital role. I don't know if you knew this, but we have 70 cruise managers in our portfolio right now, and every one of them excellent. I have no idea when they sleep. That's how good they are. They perform magic on board. So maybe you choose to do a 7 night cruise or a 14 night cruise, whichever one you choose. But you want to do a little bit of land stay with that. We offer 2, 3, and 4 night land stays with your journey. And of course, that is an additional cost. But right now, we've got some free land options for 24 and half of 25 packages. Also, air. We can customize that air for you. Maybe you want to fly business or premium economy. We can certainly help you with that. Travel Central, the advisors just call us and say, I would like, Mr. and Mrs. Smith would like to fly business. They are, United, Lufthansa, or American or Delta, and that's the carrier that they choose. We can customize that air for you. So no worries there on getting to Europe. So that's a little bit about AMA and what we offer outside of these two groups. But Sue has a group hosted, and it is May the 16th through the 23rd, 2026. She's got actually, I think, two groups. She just got back from a group with us, and she does have some special pricing if you book before June 30th. You're going to save 5%. And then, of course, you can add those extensions. 3 nights in Lisbon. I've done this itinerary. Highly recommend that you add the pre-on. It's 1,050 per person based on double occupancy. And the post is going to be 3 nights in Madrid. Equally, do both if you have the time, because it really, remember, the cruise managers with you. And our land packages are not just the hotel, it's touring every day. It's actually the cruise manager, breakfast is included, the hotel, of course, and taxes. So it's a full, and transfers to the ship. So it's a full package, and highly recommend that you take advantage of it. So let's get started on this beautiful itinerary. It's one of my favorites that I have done. And it is, we call it Flavors of Portugal and Spain. So here you're going to navigate from Porto to Barco or Veterano. So that is the one way. It's a very small stretch. The Douro, actually, the largest stretch of the Douro is in Spain, but it's not really navigable. So this is the most beautiful part that we navigate. That is going to be about 65 to 70 miles only. So remember, on the Douro, we sail during the day because we want you to have that beautiful scenic sailing. And typically on our European, we'll sail at night because we go through some parts of the river that are not so pretty. But on this itinerary, every inch of this itinerary is scenic. So we want you to be sailing during the day. But remember, sometimes it's only an hour or 2 hour sailing because we're only 20 or maybe 30 miles from the next destination. So we'll start in Lisbon, and Lisbon is that destination that has so much to offer. It's vibrant. We do touring from Lisbon, and you're going to see some beautiful excursions from Lisbon. And remember, Lisbon is an ocean port as well, but all the beautiful colored tile buildings, the pastries, they're your pastel de nata, which are incredible, and of course Pino Palace. But if you look at this picture closely, this is the Douro Valley. This is just a piece of the Douro Valley in the Panejo region. This is really the sun that's shining on the valley. It is so steep that most of these small towns, it's about 4 miles from the river because they can't be right on the river because it's so steep. So you are bussed a little bit out of the valley. But boy, those scenes that you are getting, that scenery for breakfast, when you're cruising for breakfast or lunch, incredible views. I can't talk enough about the views. It's an absolutely fantastic. So you do have 5 room categories to choose from, anything from 170 square feet to 355 square feet, which are going to be suites. And of course, you can get the deck plan and everything from Sue. She has all of that. A highlight to me when we're navigating these rivers in Europe, wherever they may be, we go through a lock system. Sometimes you go through 24 locks. Sometimes it's 6. Sometimes it's 8. Just depends on what river we're on. But on the Douro, you will go through one of the deepest locks in Europe, and it's 250 meters. There are 2 that are 250 meters. We go through Valerio, and it's an incredible. You'll see the captain and how he has to steer through it. You can see the ship is just wide enough where it leaves a little bit of space on either side. And it's really interesting when you're going through the lock system. Like I said, Porto, this is where you're going to start after you have your 3 nights. We're going to have that 2.5-hour drive from Lisbon, which we do have bathroom breaks. And of course, we'll pass cork trees. Cork is produced in Portugal. And it's really interesting because they number the cork trees as they harvest. They can only harvest these every 10 years. So it's real exciting. But this was my favorite. These are the buildings look like it's paint, right? It's not. They're all tiled inside and out. That kept the heat and the cold in or out. So these fabulously tile buildings, the tiles are intricate. Some are orange, some are green, some of the hues of these colors that are just incredible. And just touring, and you can see the hill there. We will go to the top of it, and that's where the train station is. And it's incredible train station. It has walls of these blue tiles that tell stories. The murals tell stories. Just a little history. Then we move on to like Casa de Rodriga, which is basically an almond plantation. Here you see the tiles. It tells the story. This is a little chapel. This is actually my pictures. I just couldn't wait to share them because it's so incredible. But this is the little chapel on the hill that you get to go into. And I always said I would love to have a small intimate wedding there. One of my children get married there or something. But it's a really interesting place. And then we have Matu's Palace. The grounds and the gardens are just incredible. These gardens are so intricate. The greenery, very well manicured, I can say. And I'm just highlighting a couple of places. And then, of course, here we have Lamago, which is 686 steps. And they call that the Holy Staircase. And you will see pilgrimages or people that are coming to do the El Camino. They will do a rosary on each of these steps, or a Our Father or Hail Mary on these steps. It's very well known because Fatima is not very far from Lisbon as well. And then we get to Salamanca, and we spend a whole day in Salamanca, which is a beautiful city. The university's there. Plaza Mayor, this is where you'll start your tour. You've got an opportunity to go into the university, and you do have let me see, I'm having a hard time navigating this. I took this picture. This is the cathedral that is inside of the university. I happened to be there when they had graduation, so it was all a buzz. Each of the different classrooms and the halls were filled with people. It was a really nice time to be there. But this is one of the chapels inside the university. And then we always have time for the flamingo show, and this is really a cultural heritage for Spain and, of course, Portugal. Portugal was a melting pot of all of the nationalities that came together. India brought the spices, and there is a place outside of Lisbon, the Monument of Discoveries. That's really incredible, and you get to see when all of the different cultures arrived in Portugal. So, and also the port wine. It's almost as popular as the Bordeaux region. The Panejo region is a top region in the world. You're going to go and see some of the top houses, Graham, Sandman, Graham, and there's two others that you can visit. So these you're going to taste some incredible ports, Vina Verde, which happens to be my favorite. I'm actually allergic to red wine, but these are incredible wines that they produce in this region. And this is the pasta di nata, which is a custard-filled pastry that is to die for. Every day I stopped at some bakery and tasted that region's pasta di nata, and they were incredible. I didn't meet one. And then they gave us the recipe. So if you would like to create this at home, you certainly can. So that is one of the trips, and I hope you're able to go on that trip. And then Marinella is going to do the Rhine Castle Swiss Alps. This is also another itinerary that I absolutely love. It was my very first itinerary when I started on the River Cruise side 8 years ago. So I'm in love with the Rhine River. It's full of castles. And of course, you get to go to Basel. And if you do the Lucerne Zurich portion, you're going Lake Como portion, you're going to get to see Lake Como and beautiful Lake Como. So this is uh, July 7th through the 14th, 2025, next year. And if you do reserve by June 30th, you're going to save 5%. And so it's a really great way for you to experience the Rhine River, and especially with Marinella. So we start in Amsterdam and we end in Basel. You will have an opportunity to do a couple of nights in Amsterdam. Highly recommend. Remember, there's 246 art galleries and museums in Amsterdam. So that's something you may want to spend a little extra time and get there. And of course, it helps for jet lag too. Remember the cruise managers with you. To start, you'll have a welcome reception in the hotel and then touring every day. And remember, if you're going, that way, the beautiful gardens, Keukenhof would be closed, but there's so many other gardens that are available for you to view, and all the canals, especially, and Frank's home. So you definitely want to do a little bit of time in Amsterdam. And then, of course, Basel, you'll get to go to Lake Lucerne. So as we talked about, included is a canal tour. These canals are hustling and bustling. These are all houseboats. It's so interesting. They're very highly sought after, and they're very expensive. But the canals, I always say, meander along these canals and just get lost. As long as you know which direction the river is, you'll never get lost. You can go up and down the alleyways and the canals. Crossing over the bridge is very easy to navigate. And all the fabulous shops, and I like to people watch and go into a little cafe like this along the canal and just sit and enjoy the weather. So great beer as well, and of course schnitzel and everything else that you can get. So we moved to Dusseldorf, and Dusseldorf is not a new port for us. We always visited Dusseldorf, but we're going to be docking in Dusseldorf this time and busing to Cologne. It's a very vibrant city, and you've got along the river. It looks like Cologne, but it's a little bit more charming, I feel. It's not, the Gothic cathedrals. It's really very, very charming, and I think you'll enjoy it. All the street cafes kind of reminded me of Vienna in Austria. So very, very dense and easy to get around. And then we moved to Cologne, of course, the beautiful Dome Cathedral there. And as you can see, Dusseldorf is a little bit more old world, where Cologne by the cathedral is old world, but around it is very industrial, right? Because it's a progressive city. So Cologne, you're going to definitely want to do anything around the Dome Cathedral, and you get to go into the Dome Cathedral. You have 7 interfaith chapels in the Dome. The very first cruise I took, I walked in. It was my first European cathedral, and I just cried. The massiveness of this cathedral, it is absolutely breathtaking. So you will spend time there, and of course have a coach. Kölsch beer. It is produced only in Cologne. Little bitty glasses. I know it looks like they're tall, but little bitty glasses. And Peter's Brauhaus right by the Dome Cathedral that you'll probably want to have a beer or two, because remember they're little. And they tap a keg at 7:30 in the morning. And don't ask me how I know that, but they do. So very, very interesting city. And of course, the Kölsch culture there as well. Then we move on to Strasbourg. Couldn't be opposite of Cologne. The enchanting small town of Strasbourg, the cathedral there, and of course canals here. So you have old time Strasbourg and you have new Strasbourg that has the parliament and everything. But old Strasbourg is just so charming, and lots of shops, great food, and it is that piece of France that we see on this itinerary. So you see 4 countries on this. Well, you will see 5 countries because if you do Lake Como extension on this itinerary. And this is the piece of France that we see. The Alsace region, if you're familiar with the Alsace region, fabulous wine, fabulous wine. And then we scenic sail. Remember, I talked about all those locks and along the rivers. This is a little bit different. When we do our scenic sailing, we do this during the day, the afternoon, where you'll navigate about 42 miles. And we have over 32 castles along the way. So we have the cruise manager navigating the castles, giving you a history on each castle. And of course, you're having a nice glass of wine or a beer. We're bringing you appetizers, and then we give you a test. No, I'm just kidding. We won't give you a test, but it's truly a remarkable scenery, right? These castles are so opulent. However, some of the castles are not, I mean, they're owned family history. They're, 8th, 9th, 10th generation. Some are venues. Some are museums. It just depends. It just depends on which one. And of course, these are storybook castles, but the scenic sailing is absolutely incredible. Now, remember river cruising. This is the cities that are built along the Rhine. These are actually the Romans navigated these rivers. So all the history and culture is really along the river because that was the highways, right? So just a reminder about that. And then we get to Heidelberg. And Heidelberg Castle, it's the largest intact castle, and it is an incredible, the views that you'll be able to take right here if you see my mouse scrolling, those views over the Rhine. It's going to be fantastic pictures for you. It really is. Across the river, we do a philosopher's hike, a very steep hike. You need to be in great shape. But again, we break all of our tours down into gentle walkers where we would bring you to the top of the castle, and that way you don't have to walk it. Or maybe you want to get a little bit more active. I did for sure, and it was a great tour. But you had to be in shape for it. So we have all levels for all activities and anyone that's traveling with us. And then Speyer. So you have the St. Stephen's Cathedral in Passau, the original. This is a sister cathedral to Passau on the Danube. And supposedly you have some of the apostles' relics that are housed in this cathedral. And Speyer is a great little walking city along the Rhine. We do the gardens that we go through to get into the town square right there are pretty incredible. So you'll take advantage of that and just view some of the garden. It's the most scenic around the Rhine as well. And then we get into Rudesheim. Now, Rudesheim, you've got the gondola. Rudesheim has so many things for you to see. This gondola takes you across the Rhine and across all these beautiful vineyards. We also have Siegfried's Mechanical Museum, which gives you the history of the piano to the silent when they had the music on these big discs. So it's a very interesting right in the middle of town. So you've got some choices there of what to see and do. And then we do some wine tastings as well. And then we do that exclusive Lane Castle tour. We do this at night. It's a medieval castle. all candlelit. So can you imagine going through this castle like you were in the medieval times? But it's a wonderful way to spend your evening. We have dinner on board, and then you get to do this exclusive tour, all included, right? All included. And then we get to Basel. Uh-oh, it's all over. We end the cruise there, but you can do an extension. There's a 3-night Lake Como extension. Highly recommend if you want to see that extra country and Italy. And Lake Como in itself is absolutely beautiful. But Basel, there is a confluence of France, Germany, and Switzerland in 1 mile radius. So if you walk, left or right or north or south, you're going to hit a different country. So it's kind of interesting. We have our operations office. One of our operations offices in Basel. So, Lake Como, you've got that 3-night. Look how beautiful this is, and it's a great time to be on the lake, especially in July. So, I highly, highly recommend that and our hotel is actually in these hills, and it has a dock that goes onto the lake. So, it's a beautiful, beautiful area. The water is incredible, and of course, you can see if it's a clear day, you can see some of the Alps, some of the mountaintops. So I'm going to ask Melinda to come back and talk a little bit about Travel Central.
Thank you,
And
Lori. Thank you for going over both of those presentations and both of those rivers. You made it very exciting, and I do think it looks like a perfect vacation and a great way to go see those countries and really enjoy them. Like she said earlier, rivers are the highways of Europe, and that's where all your major cities are. And the way a river cruise moves is a nice leisurely pace that you get to enjoy the destination, sometimes overnight, sometimes just for the afternoon, but it's the right amount of time. And just a reminder for those who have never used Travel Central, our goal is to be your ultimate resource. Our goal is to make seamless, stress-free vacations, to make sure everything's taken care of, from your airline tickets to your transfers to your hotel to your river cruise to excursions that are not included or want add-ons pre and post. That's our goal. Our goal is to make sure that you come back saying, wow, that was a great vacation. With that, I forgot to tell y'all, if y'all had questions, to put them in the chat box. So I'm going to give you just a minute. If anyone has a question and would like to ask, we did record this today, so I will be sending out the recording tomorrow, as well as information on both of these river cruises, so that if you're interested in either one of them, you can join us. And with that, I don't see any questions, and I just want to say thank you. So if you have questions, we have our phone number up here. If you want to get in touch with the agents who are hosting, we'll connect you with those agents, or any of the travel advisors here at Travel Central will be happy to help you with a river cruise. I would say probably 75% have already enjoyed that and are happy to share their information and knowledge. Okay, well, thank y'all for joining us today. Have a great afternoon. Enjoy your summer, and look forward to hearing from you and helping you with planning your vacation. Thank you.
thank you,
Bye bye
Melinda,
now.
for having me.
Thank you,
Bye,
Lori.
everyone.
Excellent. Thank you.
Bye-bye.